Sometimes we need to look up. Sometimes we need to look beyond. We all know the situation where the knight in shining armor is coming and he has to fight the dragon. And he's losing to the dragon. And he's on the ground. And he's like really taking a blow over here. A blow, also from a dragon means something else. But then he looks up. At the top of the tower, he can see the princess. And that revives him. That brings in something else into him, right? That gives him that strength. Sometimes we need to look up. Sometimes we need to look beyond. I want to tell you, going back like 2 years ago, at the beginning of this whole situation, of this whole war, not too long after the 7th of October, we were at home and there was a group of guys that was exercising up in the park, on the grass over there. And we were doing our lunges and our squats and all different interesting things. And then I would hear the aeroplanes on top. And I would look up and I would see our aeroplanes. And sometimes, they come very close down and very slow. And I felt tremendously guilty. Why would I feel guilty? Because here there's a war happening. And where am I? Doing lunges in the park with my friends. That didn't feel very appropriate. So looking up brought up that feeling. It brought up that guilt, which then made me work extra hard to actually get food to the soldiers. Then we made a lot of food for the soldiers, over 700 meals. And I was driving down to their bases. We went to Bap Lachish, that was the main one we went to. Then there was one that was a little further out. And I would sit down with the soldiers and talk to them and give them a lecture just like this. Which brings me to another story in Bach Golani. A while back, I went to Bach Golani, which is the Golani base, which is closer to Zichron Yaakov. And I spoke in front of the whole base over there. By the way, this is a base that's predominantly from. Most of the guys there are religious guys with kippahs. And you have the regular Golani guys. And then you have the Sayarot. The Sayarot are people that are super soldiers. Sayeret Golani, Sayeret Givati, Egozi, the top guys. What's the difference? The shoes they were wearing. Regular Golani has just like older black shoes. But the Sayarot, they have shiny, newer, brown shoes. Their boots, they're all wearing boots. And I would look down at their boots and I would look at the beautiful roof of the dining room when I would speak to them. And it was this parsha that I spoke to them on. It's going to be Tazria Metzora. 2 parshas that are connected. Each one of them is short, so together it's not that long. You don't have to worry. This Shabbos you don't have to worry about it being long. And Tazria Metzora, I speak to them about the parsha. Look down at their boots and look up. When you want to get the inspiration, you want to look up. Visual people also look up to remember things. And our emotions are down here. By the way, if you feel sad sometimes, if you feel upset, your eyes are down. If you want to, disengage from that emotion, look up. It's very easy. Whenever you're feeling very emotional and you need kind of space, look up.
If you want to stop lying, look to the right.
That's right. Now, so I'm looking up at this beautiful roof. And what happened to this beautiful roof? A while later, a very sad story. In October 2024, it's a year after the 7th of October, Hezbollah brought a drone. It's so deep into Israel. How they even got there is beyond me. Beyond me is very much the theme of today. And this drone they flew the drone into the roof, it blew up, and it killed 4 soldiers underneath. They were tionim, they were newbies, they had just been in the army, each one of them, for like 1 or 2 months. Very, very sad story. That is like the harshest story that we have after the 7th of October, that situation. Because a lot of people were injured. It's a huge dining room. And right there where I was speaking, a while after that, that drone hit. And again, it reminds me of this thing of looking up. And looking up, and what's that message? Now let me tell you about Tazria Metzora. I actually want to focus in on the Haftarahs. There's a beautiful Haftarah after Tazria, and a beautiful Haftarah after Metzora, and there's a connection between them. And that's what I spoke about in Bach Golani. What happens in the Haftarah of Tazria is there's a big general. The general Sar Tzva Aram, a guy called Naaman. He is the general of Aram. He is like Brad Cooper, who's the general of CENTCOM, which is the biggest base in the Middle East. He is such a top guy, but he has one problem. You know what his problem is? His problem is that he has tsarat, he has leprosy. His face is very white. His hands are very white. He has an illness of the skin. And one of his slaves, is a little girl, a little Jewish girl who's a slave, and she says, Mr. General, can I say something to you that I think can be helpful? I know you've tried a lot of things to try and get better, tried different oils, different soaps. It hasn't worked. There's a holy man in the land of Israel. There's a holy prophet by the name of... Which prophet is this? There's a Navi. Who? Eliyahu's very close. Yirmiyahu's father, Yeshayahu's father. Okay, which of the prophets? We've been through a lot of them. It's not Shmuel, it's not Eliyahu, not Natan Navi, not Achia. I said Eliyahu was very close.
It was the one.
Not Ovadia. It's also close. It's all around the same time.
The one before Eliyahu.
The one after Eliyahu. Who's just after Eliyahu? Elisha. Very good. Elisha is the student of Eliyahu. He's his Talmud. And not only is he his Talmud, he had whatever Eliyahu had, Elisha has double. Eliyahu crossed the Jordan River. Okay, we'll take a pause 1 second from Naaman, put him on the side, and I want to tell you where we learn about Elisha and how much power this person has. How much power Elisha wields, spiritual power. Elisha was Eliyahu's best student, closest student. And Eliyahu says, that's it, I am saying goodbye to everybody. It's time for me to leave. And he leaves the land of Israel. He gets to the Jordan River and he takes off his cloak, his aderet, and he hits the water with it, and the water splits. The Jordan River splits. And he walks through with Elisha. And Elisha says to him, and Eliyahu says to Elisha, ask for anything you want and you'll get it. He says, I want pishnai miruchacha. I want double whatever you've had. All your spiritual abilities. I want double that. Eliyahu says, you're asking for something big? I'll tell you what. If you see me going up, if you can look up and see me in the heavens, see me going up, then you'll know that you have my powers. And you have double what I had. And
So he didn't actually give it.
he says, well, you can't really give something like this. This is something that you have to be worthy, you can daven for, you can pray for it, and God has to decide if you're worthy of it. And so you'll only know if you're worthy of it if you can see me going up to the heavens. And really, Eliyahu doesn't die. Eliyahu Hanavi, Elijah the prophet, goes up to the heavens, and Elisha sees it. And he sees him go up in chariots of fire. He sees the chariots of fire go up to Shamayim, and he calls out, Avi Avi Rechev Yisrael Uparashav, Nitzchu Erelim et HaMetzokim. That's actually from something else. A lot of times they combine these psukim together, these verses together, when a big rabbi dies. Avi Avi Rechev Yisrael Uparashav, he sees him going up to the heavens, Father, and his chariot and his horses going up to heaven. And Elisha then turns back. He has Eliyahu's aderet, he has his cloak, and he hits the waters, and the waters split, and Eliyahu walks in with a few of the other Talmidim, a few of the other students. When they see him splitting the Yarden, that's when they know that he actually has his powers. They know this is the next guy in line.
Because before both of them hit it. And
Before only Eliyahu did it, and now to see Elisha that he could also do it, it shows.
Before both of them did it, and when they came back,
Yes, it was also because of the...
and then they came back because they had double the power, so he could hit it.
Oh, very good, very good. Okay, this is an aspect that I actually didn't know that. When they first hit it, so Eliyahu and Elisha, they were together. They were together, and that's why it split for both of them. Now, when Elisha comes back, because he's double, he also has Eliyahu's powers, then it splits for him alone. Very good. We're moving forward, and we're getting to the story with Naaman. And Naaman has this leprosy, and this Jewish slave girl says to him, there's a prophet that can help you, a holy man. And his name is Elisha, and he lives in Avel Mechola. Avel Mechola is not far from Beit Shean. And Naaman says, I'll go to him. And he goes with all his men, with all his entourage. This is one of the most important people of the period, yeah? And he gets to Avel Mechola, and in front of Elisha's house, Gehazi was Elisha's mashbak, his gabbai, his boy that did his errands, and he worked for him. And Gehazi comes out, and he says, I have a message from Elisha. Okay, so let's say this is the house. This is a beautiful house. But Elisha's house is behind me. I'm Gehazi, I come out. Yes, General, Elisha says, you should go and tunk in the water, go down in the water of the Jordan River 7 times. And Naaman hears this, and he's very upset. He says, I want to meet him myself. He said, no, he doesn't want to see you. He can't see you now. This is what you need to do. He knows about your leprosy. You don't have to tell him anything. No introductions needed. He knows about this. Just go into the river 7 times, and you'll be healed. And then Gehazi goes back into the house. And Naaman is furious. What is this? I came from very far away to see the holy man. He doesn't want to see me. He sends me to what? To this little puddle? This little Jordan River? Do you know what beautiful rivers we have next to Damascus in Syria? You know, the Euphrates and the Tigris, the Hiddekel and the Prat also go through part of Syria. We have beautiful, huge rivers. I'm going to go to this little river over here? No. And his advisors say to him, you know, General, you've come so far. It's a big deal just to go in over here. What's the big deal? Just do it. We're here already. It's also very close. Avel Mechola, Beit Shean, they're all very close to the Jordan River. It's just, I don't know, 2-3 kilometers away. Fine. So he goes in reluctantly. He tunks underneath the water. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and he's healed. And as he's emerging from the water, his skin is back to normal. And he's like, oh my gosh. Oh, that is amazing. He is the greatest prophet ever. Or what did I say before? That he's a terrible person and it's a terrible river? No. This is a great river and he's a great prophet and I'm so happy. And what do we have in our chariot? We have gold, silver, what other stuff do we have? Lots of presents. We're going back to him. So they went back to Elisha's place And Gehazi comes out and he says, I have presents for the prophet. And Gehazi says, yeah. He's happy to accept them. He is not. Elisha told him as he's going out, he says he's coming with presents. Tell him, no, I don't want to take anything from him. He should go back and thank God, don't thank me. And Gehazi comes out, he says, yeah, give it all. He sees gold, how can you say no to gold? It's just think in Gehazi's situation. It's difficult, right? Give it. And he's collecting all the gold, and Naaman is traveling away, and then Elisha sees all of this, and he says, you took the gold? How could you? You shall now have Naaman's tzaras tidbak becha. Now the leprosy that came off Naaman should go on to you now. And you know it's wrong, right? You can't take presents from somebody else. But here you have a prophet. If a prophet tells you not to do something, if you do it, there are going to be consequences, and serious consequences, because it's God talking from within his mouth. We don't have prophets anymore. We don't have nevuah. We have some level of Ruach HaKodesh. Who does have nevuah? Nitla nevuah min hachachamim v'nitna le'shotim v'ktanim. Little kids and disabled people with demented people still have nevuah on some level. In any event, Gehazi now has the tzaras, and that's where our story ends of the Haftarah of Tazria. Let's move forward to the following week, Metzora, which the irony is, I'm speaking about these two beautiful Haftarahs. We're not going to read any of them this Shabbos, because this Shabbos we're going to read Shabbos Rosh Chodesh. It's a Shabbos Rosh Chodesh. It's the beginning of Yeshayahu, Hashemayim Kis'i, Va'aretz Hadam Raglai. It's a whole different Haftarah. The next Haftarah speaks about 4 lepers, the Arba Metzoraim that are standing in the entrance to the city of Shomron. You know, it's a shame that I'm speaking so much about Shomron. I'm speaking about Elisha, and we have a beautiful Beis HaMikdash behind me. This is the second Beis HaMikdash, the second temple. How can we tell? We can tell because of the descriptions here match exactly what we know about the second temple. You could see the Lashachais. All these rooms, each one of them is mentioned in the Mishnah, and each element over here is mentioned in the Mishnah. The Rimonim, sorry, not Rimonim, it's grapes. The golden grapes hanging down, and Heleni's Nivreshet. A Nivreshet is a chandelier. Heleni Hamalka donated a chandelier, and you can see it brights out, it shines when the sun comes through. This all has to do with the second temple. We're speaking about the first temple period time, and we're not even speaking about Yerushalayim, we're speaking about the north. Shomron. Shomron is the capital of the northern tribes, right? We're talking about a time where it split. You had Melech Yehuda, and we had Melech Shomron. Melech Shomron is Yehoram. Yehoram Melech Shomron. And who's Melech Yisrael? There was also Yehoram Melech Yisrael. Rechavam, it's the time of Rechavam?
Yeah.
No, it's much later. No, it's a time of it's after Achav. Yehoram is later. And who's Melech Yisrael at the time? Melech Yehuda at the time? I'm not remembering right now. Let's get back to Shomron. Shomron is suffering. There's a siege on the city of Aram. So this is a later story. Naaman loves Elisha, but within a few years comes to put a siege round the city of Shomron, and he creates tremendous starvation. Back then, how do you get through a city? It's the city of Jerusalem. It has big walls around. You come with your army. How do you conquer a city?
Break the wall.
You can't break the wall at this period of time. The Romans knew how to do it. This time they knew how to do it. We're talking about this is around the time, that's at the time 0 or 1, the year 1 AD, right, 2,026 years ago. So at that point, the Romans had equipment, they had battering rams, they had catapults, they had ballistas, they had lots of heavy equipment that could break walls down. This is 500 years before, 600 years before, they didn't have that equipment. You couldn't break through a city wall. What do?
Didn't let them come out.
Just, you just put down a siege. That's all they did. They put down a siege. When somebody goes in, locks the door, that's it. You stand outside for half a year. Costs you half a year. The gate to the city. If the gate, open it.
Whoever comes out gets killed, right?
You don't have battering rams. What ability do you have to knock down a big, heavy door? You can try and set it on fire. That's the best. But if you come close, they shoot at you because they had bows and arrows, but they didn't have battering rams. So it just makes things very difficult. But to put down a siege is the easiest. You don't even need a lot of soldiers for a siege. So you put down a siege, and where's your camp? The camp is close, but not too close. Like beyond the next hill. That's where your camp would be. So you have these 4 lepers. Who are these 4 lepers that are standing outside the city? Why are they outside the city?
It's a leper.
A leper is a Metzora. You have 4 Metzoraim, Arba Metzoraim. Why are they outside the city? Because they have tzarat. You have leprosy, you have to go out of the city. Naaman wasn't Jewish, so he could live inside his city, and he could also be the general of the army. But what if you're a king and you have tzarat, you have leprosy?
Well, it was a shot.
You have to go out of the city. It happened. There was a king called Uzziyahu. He was Melech Yehuda. It's actually not far from the time of Uzziyahu, I think. Melech Yoram. Our story happens not too far away from the time of Uzziyahu. No, Uzziyahu is a little later, maybe 100 years later. Uzziyahu is Melech Yehuda, right? We're leaving the 4 Mitzoraim for a moment. We're moving to Uzziyahu. Uzziyahu is Melech Yehuda, Melech Yerushalayim. He's the king of Yerushalayim. And he goes in to the Kodesh. He just goes just behind over here. What he has standing over here is Mizbeach HaKtoret. And he brings Ktoret, he brings incense, which you're not allowed to bring. You could only bring it like once a day. And you can't bring it if you're not a Kohen. He's not a Kohen. What is he? He's not a Levi. What is he? How could he go in? He's a Melech Yehuda. He's the great-great-grandson of David HaMelech. Right? That's the only...
Right.
You have to be from the line of David HaMelech. So he's just to Israel. He's just to Israel, and he can't go into the Beis HaMikdash. But he still does it, and he brings Ktoret. And what happens is, at the end of the day, he gets leprosy. What? It doesn't, yeah, you're right. The Shvatim, the tribes divide between Yehuda and Binyamin. Let's try and work it out. Then we're looking at a picture. The border goes through the Mizbeach. It cuts through the Mizbeach. The northern part is Binyamin, the southern part is Yehuda. So if we're looking over here, which would the northern part be? Oh, this is, yeah. It cuts in like this. This is Binyamin. This is Yehuda. From the middle of the Mizbeach, this is Yehuda. So did he come around like this? He didn't need to, because they were together. This question is irrelevant because Yehuda and Binyamin were together, and then you had the 10 tribes in the north. So we have 4 lepers, 4 Mitzoraim. Who are they? Chazal tell us that it's Gehazi, the protagonist. No, the antagonist. The guy from the story before, this terrible guy. He did terrible things, okay? He is one of the people that doesn't have a chelik l'olam haba, it says. He's one of the 4 people. No. Gehazi. Gehazi was a terrible person. There's a few things he did. One of them was sexual harassment. When the Isha HaShunamit came to talk to Elisha, he went and he pushed her back. ויגש להודפה שהדפה בהדר יופייה. He pushed her breast. There were a few things that he did. There were a lot of things that he did. He was not a good person for many, many reasons. I should have maybe introduced him a little differently because we started connecting to this guy a little bit. And he was not a good person. In the story, he actually does something good in this part of the story. But the overall character is a bad character. He has 3 sons. And his 3 sons were, let's say, mediocre. Not bad like he is, but they weren't really good guys either. And they also had leprosy. So he's outside with his 3 sons. Do you know anybody that has 3 sons? And his sons followed in his ways, which are not good ways. And they were banished from the city. And somebody was sent to Elisha to ask him, what are we going to do? It's so poor, there's no food anywhere. To buy 1 loaf of bread costs 200 shekels. Elisha said, tomorrow, a loaf of bread is going to cost 1 shekel. And he sent the messenger to tell the Shalish, the guy that was in charge of the gate. And he came to tell the guy in charge of the gate, and the guy laughed his head off. He said, really? Now a loaf of bread is 200 shekels, tomorrow it's going to be 1 shekel? Impossible. And he laughed his head off. The next day what happens is, there's a loud rumbling, a loud noise, and the army of Aram, right? We said you have the city, and beyond the hill you have their camp. There's a loud noise, and the camp just runs away to Aram. Aram is not far away. You have to cross. If let's say in Shomron, so you have to go down the hills next to Shechem, down the hills, cross the Jordan River, and then you're already in the Gilad. You're very close to Syria already. You're already very close to Damascus. It actually would have probably taken them, but like 2-3 days. But they ran away because they got really freaked out, really scared. And now you have Gehazi and his 3 sons. And they said, that the camp is very, very quiet. And we're starving, we don't have food over here. So why shouldn't we go and starve over there? Go closer to the camp. They'll shoot us, they'll kill us, whatever they'll do with us. It's better than being here. They go to the camp. They knock on the door. And nobody's there. Hello? He walks into the tent. Hello? Nobody's there. They abandoned the whole camp. And they had lots of supplies. There was food everywhere. Lots of good meat. And chicken. And fish. And salads. And they sit down and they have a huge feast. And after they eat, go to Shomron, right? Because you have family in Shomron. You have the people of Am Yisrael, your relatives. The city that you grew up and lived in is starving. They are starving so terribly. I didn't want to say this part, but where it says the Neshei Yedei Nashim Rachmaniyot Bishlu Yeldehem, women cook their own kids. That story happens, but they eat their own kids. That happens here in Shomron. It doesn't happen in Jerusalem. It's not the story from Jerusalem. People mix it up. So it's so terrible, that starvation.
It's after they died.
What?
It's after they died from starvation.
They don't kill their babies.
Right. Oh, the kids died of starvation and then they cooked them. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That feels much better to say that. I'm not sure that's how it goes.
Right, that thing?
What?
If he's gonna anyways die, cook him when he has more meat.
These 4 guys should have gone after they had their meal, okay? Let's say you're starving, you're afraid you're going to die, finish eating, then go to the city. What do they do then? Then they walk around, they go in, oh, there's some gold over here, there's some silver over here. They start collecting, they start going through the whole town. And then they find a good place, they dig it up, and they bury all the stuff they've taken. And only then do they say, okay, well, what about Mommy and our sisters that are starving in the city? Let's go call them. And then they go back to the city and they knock on the big gates. And the guy inside the city, the Shalish, the guy who's in charge of the gate, opens up. Yes, what do you guys want? Lepers, you can't come in. They said, no, 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 no. And they yelled, the camp is empty. The Aramim have left. There's food. There's meat. There's chicken. There's fish. There's salads. There's everything you want. Come, guys. And then there's a stampede of thousands of people that are running out. And the Shalish, the guy who didn't believe Elisha, the guy in charge of the gate, sees a stampede and he freezes and he falls on the ground and they trample all over him and he dies. And the people went out and they had food. Then they had found some of the gold and some of the silver that wasn't found before. And the city can recover. And this terrible, terrible time. It's the worst starvation ever documented in the land of Israel. Okay, it's the worst starvation that I can remember that's in the land of Israel, where you had to get to cannibalism. There's no other documentation even close to that.
Is it kosher to eat people?
If you're starving and there's a dead person here, you can eat him. Because there's no other thing.
Is it yummy?
Is a person yummy?
Tastes like pork.
What a
Yeah, it's like pig.
So
Depends on what's
Hey,
Justin
what's
Smith's
that?
not gonna.
it's a difficult question to even think about. Because it is mentioned in Chazal, it's something that we do want to pay attention to. Let's return back to my stories from before. So we have, just after the 7th of October, I'm doing lunges in the park and I'm looking up to the heavens. Right? I'm looking up and I'm feeling guilty. Later, I'm in the Bach Golani and I spoke over there and I was inspired, I looked up. But then later on, the drone hit the roof and blew it up.
The same place you were at?
It was the same dining room that I was in, yeah. But it was later. It wasn't when I was there at the same time. And let's move forward to not too long ago. You know, even now you can hear rumbling and you can have planes flying on top. In all the Iran wars, I would hear lots and lots of planes. And we would send out all like 200 planes of ours at once. Israel has more than that, like 400 planes. But it's the 200 planes that we would send out all the time, the F-35s, the F-15s, the F-16s, which are our fighter jets. And you look up, but you need to look beyond. There's a special feeling I have when I look up and I see the planes. But there's a special feeling you need to have when you look up. And that's, you look beyond. And here I'm going to bring the last story that has to do with something from the Torah. And that's from a few weeks ago, a parasha a few weeks ago. And we actually read this on Purim Day. On Purim Day, we were fighting in Iran. And we read. What happened was, the Amalekim came to fight Am Yisrael in the Midbar. The Amalekites. They came to fight us in the Midbar. And Moshe Rabbeinu picks up his hands and we start beating them. And Moshe's hands are heavy. It's hard to do this, right? If your hands are to the side, it's pressure on the side delts, right? If they're straight up, then it's more back. It engages the back. No? It's still delts? Front delts? So it's hard to do this. It's hard to do. How long can you do this for? And then eventually, they got Aaron to hold up Moshe's one hand and Hur to hold Moshe's other hand up. And then we won. And that's what it says in the Psukim.
They have to fall off. They have no blood.
Oh, how can you hold your hands up for a long time? Isn't there blood? If you jump, I can feel, I don't know, or if you do like this, you can help it help the blood, move through your arm. Yeah, he had heavy hands. He was a very tall person. Aaron and Hur weren't nearly as tall. How did they hold up his hands? Maybe they went up on top of stones next to him to hold it up. Or maybe, when it says that he's 5 amas tall, 10 amas tall, maybe it doesn't really mean 10 amas. Maybe there's a deeper meaning.
the giraffe needs 3 hearts to pump blood for its entire body.
He's almost the height of the giraffe, and the giraffe needs 3 hearts or 3 extra chambers in its heart to pump it up.
They say that Aaron was also rich.
These things are meant to be learned figuratively. Don't imagine Moshe being 10 amas tall and Paro 1 amma tall. It's a figuratively. It's the spiritual greatness. Don't imagine Elisha twice as big as Eliyahu. He has twice his abilities. The Mishnah tells us, V'chi yedei Moshe, oisos milchama, shervis milchama, do Moshe's hands make war or break war? No. What do Moshe's hands do? Ela bezman she Am Yisrael einem l'shamayim notzchim v'im lav en notzchim. When Am Yisrael looks up to the heavens, that's when we win. When Am Yisrael looks away from the heavens, they look down to what's going on down here or what's going on in the battlefield, that's when we lose.
And I think that's the reason when you're depressed or not, you look up. Why does it help you?
Very good, very good. Early on I mentioned that, right, when you're upset, so you look up and then you engage different facets of you, the parasympathetic system, nervous system, and that relaxes you. But you're saying when you look up, you look closer to the celestial beings, closer to God, closer to the heavens, and that's what elevates your spirit in a spiritual way. I was speaking from a psychological point of view. You're speaking from, or from a neurological point of view. You were speaking from a spiritual view. Yes. You know Sherlock Holmes, the big detective? So Sherlock Holmes was out camping with Watson. Watson is his vice detective, his second-hand man. And he says to him, he wakes up in the middle of the night, he says, Watson, look up. What do you see? He says, what do you mean, what do I see? He says, what do you deduce from what you can see? He says, from an astronomical point of view, I can see thousands of stars. We know there are way beyond that and possibly even life on them. From an astrological point of view, I can see that Jupiter is stronger, which means there's more justice in the world. From a philosophical point of view, I can imagine the life beyond and what's beyond my 70 years on this world. He says, Watson, shut up! How can you see the stars? What we're supposed to deduce from this is that somebody stole our tent. So, looking up in many different aspects over here, and at the end of the day, we want to look up, we want to connect to God, we want to get our inspiration from what's above, and when we look up and we see the planes, we want to look beyond and thank God. And as long as we look up, we're going to win all our battles. As long as we look up, we're going to always win and be... When you see the planes, you can say a Perek Tehillim, that's great. And that's what we need to have in our mind. And the more we look up, the more we connect to God, the closer we will be to the Geula. Thank you.